Alright guys, so let me give you a little update on this. What is Outspoken? Well, Outspoken's a forum, just like Reddit. The only difference is, instead of text responses, everything's a video, just like this. Up to 1 minute long, talking about various topics. Could be sports, politics, coronavirus, anything in the world. Why a video? Well, probably the same reason YC wants to see a video of us. More authentic, more expressive. You get my tone of voice, you get my expression, you get all of these micro expressions in my face. All of that nuance comes through. On the other side, I can't troll. I can't hide behind a keyboard, I can't hide behind a username. You see my face. If I want to say something, I have to say it face to face to everybody that's going to hear it. We think this is better for the creators, and ultimately we think this is better for the consumers. It's going to give us a lot more entertaining content. It's going to give us healthier, better public conversation. Now let me show you how to create a topic. Now once we've created a topic, we can record a video and respond to it. Welcome to week 2 of Project Unicorn, everyone. That video you just saw, that demo of Outspoken, was actually my application to Y Combinator. And Y Combinator, for those of you who don't know, is pretty much the biggest startup accelerator. It's based in Silicon Valley. It's a bunch of, fund a bunch of startups every year. And I applied and I didn't get in. And so I figured I'd be honest and raw about this. I feel like it's a cooler account of the journey if you can, share the highs as well as the lows. So, applied, didn't get in, but I thought it was useful to, you guys get a glimpse of what the product looks like right now, and really what we're building towards. So with that, I also want to talk about kind of higher level, what is design? This idea of, not only the visual design, but product design overall. And the way I like to look at it is, when you're thinking of what to build in the first place, you want to even start before that in terms of like, why am I building something? I talked about why I'm building something last week, but you should think about for yourself, why am I building something? Then once you have that, then it's about, what is the thing that I could build better than anyone else? And it doesn't have to be a software product, doesn't even have to be hardware. It could be a song, it could be a blog post, it could be an article, it could be a piece of clothing, it could be anything in the world, any creative expression. A company and a business is one, or a couple forms of creative expression, but it could be literally anything. A YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is a creative expression. This is the product that I feel is the best way for me to get across this idea, this experience that I want to convey of, coming along for the ride, coming along for the journey of building a great company. And so, when thinking of, what to design, the first questions are, why am I doing this? And then you go into, what effect do I want to achieve? In this case, it's, I want people to feel, a part of the journey. In the case of Outspoken, is I want people to be able to express themselves and express their opinions in the most authentic way possible, to spark conversation, to get people's creative, juices flowing, to get this debate and discussion going, and doing it in this format, this video format. So that's how I think about design, and over the course of the coming weeks, we'll talk about specifically software design and what goes into that. You'll see obviously the clip of Sketch and some of the things that I do with building the designs. But really, design itself is the process of, first off, why you're building things. Then you go into what it is you're building and how specifically you'll build it. But it always starts with the why. I mean, you hear that all the time. I think that's very important to get straight. Why are you building this? And why you specifically? Don't build, final piece of advice to that, don't build for someone else. Don't build because you think a lot of people will like this. It's counterintuitive, but if you build just for yourself, it's far more likely that a lot of people will like it. My last startup, Focus, it failed because I built it for what I thought other people would like rather than what I would myself would use. And so I would recommend to anyone, even if it's, again, even if only you enjoy it, that was useful to create. Obviously, everybody wants to get to some, mass scale, phenomenon. But you have to start with the essence of what is true. What will spread is what is true. And if you can capture the essence of truth, even if it's on a super small scale, that is valuable and that will spread. So focus on getting to the essence of that truth of what is authentic to you. What is the thing that you need to bring out into the world, the thing that only you could bring to the world. So this is Sketch. This is where the magic happens with design. This is where most of the ideas come to life, at least the first step of them. So I'll do most of my initial prototyping here. You'll get a sense of, how things look. This is kind of the sign-up flow here. Pretty straightforward, but Sketch, I love Sketch because it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of what you can build. Very straightforward, easy to use program. You can build pretty much anything you want, any different type of interface. You can even prototype it out where you can have one screen transition to another screen. You can, have animations. All of that can be done within Sketch. And so this is kind of high level. These are the different pages, different screens of the app, at least things that I'm playing around with. And so every day or every time I'm working on design, I'll come in here, play around with certain things. To kind of give you an example, let's kind of zoom in here. For example, on any given piece, obviously these can be moved around. You can edit, for example, the size. Any individual piece in here is going to be editable. And so, yeah, love this program. Just wanted to give you guys a sense of, where do we design, how do we design. We'll get more into depth on, specifics here, but this is high level of Sketch, the design tool. The other aspect of design is engineering. Engineering a lot more, I guess, concrete. Design is kind of, design has its concrete aspects, but is a lot more philosophical, whereas engineering, it either works or it doesn't. Engineering is the process of actually building something. And software engineering, I'll just touch on a couple concepts today because these are concepts that are pretty basic to anybody involved in software engineering, but were things that I didn't even know. And so a basic, we'll talk about a mobile application in the case of Outspoken. Basic mobile app has a front end, which is called the client app. That's the thing that you download from the App Store or the Google Play Store. And then it will generally communicate with what's called an API. You've probably heard the term a lot, but that is basically what communicates, like I said, with the from the front end to the third aspect, which is the database. And the database is essentially what stores all of the user data. It doesn't always have to be that way, but in most commercial apps, data will be stored, in a database. The database will communicate with the API, which will communicate with the front end client app, and that's kind of how things function. And so those three aspects, I didn't even really have a full grasp on. So I thought I'd fill you guys in on at least that higher level. So in terms of Outspoken, I've built out pretty much the entire API and obviously connected it to the database. Working on building out the client app, starting out with iOS, eventually we'll expand to Android. But yeah, that's high level of engineering. We'll get into, languages and all that. I guess to touch on languages, I'm building the front end in Swift. The API is Python with the Django framework, and I'm hosting the database. It's an RDS database via AWS for those of you who are familiar. And yeah, that's a bit on engineering. So time to hold myself accountable. What did I get done this week? Every week I'm going to focus on 3, and it might be small some weeks, might be big some weeks, but I want to focus on 3 key things that I got done each given week. And so this week, first thing is I added settings to the profile. So I'm going to be able to tweak things like push notifications, going to be able to report a problem, log out, just basic, maintenance things. Started the topic detail page. So within any given topic that a user creates, we'll be able to see all the videos, all the responses to that particular topic on a page. Started building that out. And then finally refined the sign up flow. So before the sign up flow is 3 different pages. One thing, you always want to reduce the friction in terms of, getting people to sign up. So reduce the sign up flow from 3 pages to 2 pages, basically just combined the landing page, which is the first page that opens up, made that the first page of sign up, so users can kind of input their username and password, kind of choose that on the initial page rather than having to go to another page. And so yeah, those are three high level for this week. As for what's coming up next week, one thing I want to finish is obviously the topic detail. I want to get that either done or as close to done as possible. It's going to have not only the list of responses, but also every response you're going to be able to tap into. You'll be able to see that actual video. So I want to get that built out. Want to tweak, I mentioned API is almost finished. There's one thing, one small fix that I want to make to the API. And then the third one I'll leave as a wild card. I will complete, at least one other key thing this week, but we'll say those 2 and look out for one more. As always, follow, subscribe, follow the journey, Project Unicorn. I'll see you guys next week.